Okay.
What have we got?
This is called the Gray Eminence, like the people who are doing things behind the scenes. So we are all playing here. This is 2 to 5 player game, and we are playing powerful figures who have plenty of money or influence or power. So power, money, and influence. And this is clearly a prototype, some kind of indication of what what is supposed to come. This is fairly close to final, but not exactly final. This is also very close to the like actual hardback, and in here we will see like almost final box front.
It's nice.
So this is a game about modern world, and it's a very political, and we are not trying to be politically correct in this game. So in this game, what we want to do is to resolve certain events, so that we get our own victory conditions fulfilled, and preferably so that yours are not fulfilled.
Okay.
So every player, these are the hero cards. So you might have a guess who is Space Chef. Space Jeff's special thing or victory condition is that he has a space program. He wants to spend 7 money for his space program. If he does that, he gets 2 victory points. At the beginning of the game, there will be 3 of these victory conditions, out of which you read all of them and choose 2. So for instance, in here there would be philanthropy, power wins. So this is basically, let's do some military actions, and then this is a political geniusness, which means that you need to be able to manipulate someone to go to Cold War, someone who is not there at the moment. So that gives you kind of indication of what kind of things do you do, and if you manage to complete any of these, you will automatically be given a new victory condition, and this gives you as many victory points as it's indicated here. These are the rounds on which you can actually complete it, and the whole game's rule mechanic is explained here in the play sheet. So basically you don't really need to have a separate rule book for except to explain it like this. Yeah, but besides that, this will be like explaining all. So it's having the cards, having the event card. So let's assume that this time we would have got an event card that says a Mediterranean immigration problem. So how do we solve it? Then we as players would need to discuss that. Okay, what do we want? We could all say that, oh, we couldn't care less about that, so let's leave it unresolved. Okay. We could also say that, oh, I like forceful solutions. Let's just read what it says about the forceful solution. Let's have a minefield in Mediterranean. It's very effective. Right. It's maybe not the most humane way of resolving it, but it's a very effective. And it would lead both Africa and UN going one to the negative side, because they would somehow consider that to be less than perfect solution.
I would say so.
Yeah. Yep. So this is a game where we have alternative means of resolving these things. For instance, if my goal would be to always resolve with power or not resolve at all, I would certainly advocate this. Whereas if my goal would be to never resolve anything, then I would do anything in my power to just steal all the things out of you.
So that's based on these cards here?
Yes.
Right.
And based on what we bid here. So if we go here after the event, the next stage, once we know what we want to resolve, is to bid. Bidding is like putting the resources to resolving the event, and all the things that we bid go here in the middle, and that determines the play order, but also your kind of role. Right. Would you be the only one in the public eye? That's basically the person that everyone watches in TV and so on. Not always a desirable position to be, because you can't do all of your normal shady deals. If you are here in the middle, you are nicely in the background, so you get some benefits, and if you are then in the shadows, you can do the shadiest of the shadiest deals, and you are the last one on the round. So this is also the determination that who goes first.
Yep.
So all that we bid go here. Then after that we program the cards that we got here in phase number 1. So let's assume that we had these cards. So what we do is that we choose one for the green effect for the green, one for the yellow effect for the yellow, and we throw one away. That happens always. And then the next thing is that the president will, before we resolve this, there is a presidential response. This is basically like president has heard that there is a Mediterranean immigration problem, and then he reacts. As in real life, the reactions can be wildly outrageous. So this time he would reply that I know nothing about the WikiLeaks. Technology is not my thing personally. So there are two hashtags, technology and personally. Then we would see if it fits any of these. Do we have any of those? No, here we have regional refugees, sanctions and terrorism as the...
Okay, so there's keywords there.
Yeah,
Yep.
the keywords are important because the presidential barrage will continue until first of these keywords actually matches for the actual event.
Right. So is it in everyone's interest to make that happen, or not for some?
Well, this is the luck effect, basically. So in this case, it would take one out of the blue dots in here, one out of the influence away, but it would give money in there. So it's kind of meddling what we were aiming to do. We as the power figures have a president that is meddling. How very, let's say, conveniently true, I would say.
I'm not sure who you're talking about, but that's okay.
Yeah. Then we would have another thing where we would have a domestic, a regional, and fake news. But I think this did have regional. Yes, it has a regional, so no more tweets. Maximum is 4 tweets, but this still takes place, so that it would give us +1 influence. So the idea of the game is to kind of like cause discussion about the modern world and its problems and why they are resolved very slowly, if at all. And it's kind of like aiming to like wake up people that many of these problems would be something that if there would be a will, it could be resolved. So why are they not resolved?
Yeah. It's got, to me, it feels a bit like, reminds me of Twilight Struggle, where you had that Cold War part and which way do I want to push the space race and things like that. But it's very different. It sounds exciting. So, what was the number of players for this one?
2 to 5.
2 to 5. How does bidding go with 2? How does that kind of...
Bidding...
What's the sweet spot, do you think?
Switch is that if I have 2 different of these, then it's less than 2 of the same.
Right.
And if it's exactly the same, then it's based on the priority order. So the higher up you are, that's the breaking point.
Okay.
So that's how it goes.
So it also feels a bit like Campaign Manager.
Yeah.
And it also feels a bit like 1960 Making of the President. Because it's got that. But I love the way that it's got pop culture references in it, real world problems, and some fantasy disasters that we can sort of manipulate as we go along.
Yeah.
It's great, very exciting.